Alright, so to begin building today's video topic, I want to tell you about a song called Touch of Corporate by the lesser-known Vaporwave artist Airliner 95, and you'll see why in a little bit. The track is really nothing too crazy. Touch of Corporate samples the legendary Anita Baker, a nice little slice out of her song Been So Long, starting at just before the 2-minute mark of her track. Airliner 95 gives the sample chop a bit of a high pass to make it feel as if the track is playing high above you, watching you as you walk down aisles and aisles of store brand products. And this track has your classic, excessively grand supermarket commercial synths, little accents of some guitar picking in the corner, a simple foundation of drums to hold it up. Yeah, there really isn't much to discuss here about the track. Literally, it's pretty much your single shot dosage of classic Vaporwave. What makes this track interesting though is that it came out a pretty long time ago, especially when comparing it to other releases on a Vaporwave timeline of sorts. What's also interesting is that the artist had absolutely no intention of labeling this as a Vaporwave release, as a name was definitely not even coined yet for the genre. And you know what else is interesting? Touch of Corporate isn't the actual name of this song. As a matter of fact, Airliner 95 isn't even a real artist. I'm sorry for lying to you, but my friend, what I'm talking about is a track titled Zatar by the ever so fascinating fan favorite rapper, songwriter, producer MF Doom off of his 2002 Special Herbs box set. And because of copyright, I'm not gonna play the song here in this video, so feel free to go listen to the song and come right back if you want. I put a link to it in the description of this video, so go check that out and then come right back. I'm watching you, come back. So this begs the question, did MF Doom create Vaporwave back in 2002? This track titled Zatar would without a doubt be a song many would consider to be a Vaporwave track. And like I said earlier, there isn't much to discuss about the literal song itself, as it is a sample chop and loop, a very simple one, but the track does formulate some interesting perspective on music production technology and intention. Let's dive a little bit deeper, and real quick before we do, hit that subscribe button. You know I want to see you at the next video, so do that real quick for me. Never in modern music history, or for what I at least know about modern musical history, have we ever been in a time where so many people are truly obsessed and fascinated with going backwards to achieve a sound of outdated technology. And of course, we'll always find simple inspirations from the past to create something new, and history repeats itself, hence the 80s, 50s principle, for example, the belief that every 30 years styles and cultures cross paths once again and return to a similar fashion of what it was 30 years ago. But for many these days, it's become beyond being inspired by the past, and more so purposely ignoring modern technology. In the 1960s, bands like the Beatles were revolutionizing music production with albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, technicians over at Abbey Road Studio doing everything they can to give them top-of-the-line equipment beyond their usual 4-track recording methods. Or what about Jimi Hendrix, pushing boundaries with his, for the time, rambunctious and dynamic electric guitar playing style, throwing out what was usually done at the time in favor of a combination of fuzz, feedback, and distortion, something that really wasn't done up until that point. Move on to the 70s and 80s, bands like Rush and Van Halen going out of their way to giving fans nothing but sounds from out of this world, infusing the latest and greatest of synthesizers, filters, and laser beam sounding guitars to strive for sounds beyond the time period. And who can ignore the boom of house in the 90s? Artists from all over the world using new technology to repurpose old songs and samples, inevitably remastering them to a more modern sound and cleaner than ever before, and then throwing them into what would become, the groovy dance floor hits that came out of the 90s and early 2000s. Back then, it seemed that if you were not up to the times, you would be left in the dust. I mean, even with musical mediums too in history, from vinyl to cassette to CD and then the digital age, it was always as if we were looking to the next big thing. But now, it really feels like we're going backwards. Vinyl crackling and popping isn't necessarily a nuisance anymore, but a lot of times soothing and warming for many music fans when it's laid as a texture on top of a track. 24/7 lo-fi hip-hop radios to study with on YouTube, all those videos, great examples. Or how about artists like Mac DeMarco, who records almost all of his music on reel-to-reel tape recorders, from a Fostex A8 to a Tascam 334, to achieve that true vintage analog feel, using an Ulysses microlimiter and a Roland Space Echo RE201 to achieve his signature lo-fi sound. Will Brewster of Mixdown Magazine. Heck, you could just go online to find a bunch of discussion boards on how to use old technology to truly recreate an older sound. Here we have a thread on using hi-fi stereo VHS machines to record audio that would authentically create the pre-recorded sound of old VHS tapes for your tracks. And just vinyl in general, look at the history of sales when you get a chance, and it's absolutely incredible to watch this physical form of music bounce back from its once abandoned depths, all in a time where the convenience of digital music is a click away. People these days, it's simple, they find charm to old gear and lesser quality recording styles of the past, having these little nostalgia trips to older days through music, aesthetic, and textures. When Daniel Lopatin dropped Chuck Person's Echo Jams Volume 1 in 2011, the overly intoxicating visions of the past was something people grabbed onto really well. The album became quite a discussion piece as people found a connection with the feelings it was trying to invoke. This album is what many truly believe to be the first ever Vaporwave album, intent on trying to ironically explore the romanticized visions many of us have of the past. And while there were albums and songs and artists before Echo Jams Volume 1 that was maybe doing something very similar to that, it never picked up in regards to this Vaporwave style community being built around that piece of music. The internet was definitely not as big as it was today, and most people were not really coming together via the internet to create a community around this concept of reconceptualizing songs to fit a narrative of returning to the past. And you can look at a lot of other tracks on this box set that would even fit like a lo-fi hip-hop vibe, for example, or other Doom releases like Operation Doomsday and Food, where samples of old superhero cartoons and other sample sources that many Vaporwave artists would use today can definitely be heard. It's fun to discover tracks from years ago that were made with such a Vaporwave style, yet nothing really came out of them as significant as what happened with Daniel Lopatin's Chuck Person's Echo Jams Volume 1. Echo Jams is a great showcase of the current state of this decade's music listener, producer, and online community. And I'm not saying everyone is fixated on achieving a true vintage style and imagery with their music nowadays, but let's be real, nostalgia has never sold more than how it does today. This track, Zatar by MF Doom, is definitely really cool to listen to. With all the Vaporwave that's out today, you know, for anyone who's watching this who's in the Vaporwave scene, you know how much there is. And it's cool knowing that even in 2002, something that would clearly fit in today's world, in today's Vaporwave world, was being made. So I highly recommend checking that track out. If you have any other tracks from the past you think heavily fits the Vaporwave vibe, I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I find it a ton of fun to explore all these songs from years ago. Also, remember to throw a like on the video and click subscribe if you haven't so already. It helps the channel out a ton, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. So thanks for watching, and until next time, much love, your boy, Pad Chennington.